Hey, what's up world? One Tech Traveler here. Now, if you're looking to bring some entertainment with you, whether that's on the go or at home, and specifically looking for travel size projectors that give good sharpness and is bright enough in the dark to watch your favorite films without breaking the bank, then this projector is something that is worth considering, and it is the PRIMA X2 Pico projector. You can check out my full written review of what you see in this video today on my website, so check out onetechtraveler.com. If you think this is the right travel size projector for you, then you can go ahead and buy it in the link down below, and I've even got a code to help you save 15% off. So I hope you enjoyed this review video. Let's get down to it. Right, so first up, let's see what's inside the package. Focus dial to dial in the sharpness and focus of the projector. This is the standard X2. There's also an X2 Plus and Ultimate that slides pretty easy. In the small box we have so this is kind of it. Got quite a few accessories in here. Let's take them all out one by one. The power charger, HDMI cable, a 1.5, and finally a small travel pouch. This feels pretty good actually. It's a drawstring. Has more of a fleecy material than the outside, but this part is really nice quality. So and take you through the hardware. Now, the PRIMA X2 is pretty light. It's around 180 grams and it has a form factor that's no bigger than, let's say, a hard drive or modern day smartphones. It's definitely close to my Galaxy Note 10, albeit a little bit thicker. But when it comes to projectors, this thing is super compact. It's very small, easy to bring inside your bag, and that's kind of its intended use. It's kind of a travel size projector that allows you to be able to project your screen, multiple devices, or even just play your media through the supported input ports, and it does it very well. 200 ANSI lumens, which makes it more brighter and is above average than those you will find in these travel size projectors. You have touch gesture controls on the top, and you have the full suite that takes you back to the menu, powering it on, back button, and the arrow controls to navigate around the operating system and apps that you use. It is Android OS, and the current version I had supported Android version 7.1, but Android is an open system that allowed them to put their own custom layer and interface to sort of tailor the experience for a Pico projector. On the top it has glossy plastic. It can attract fingerprints, but it gives it a more premium style to it. Feels very nice in the hand, enough heft to feel good without feeling heavy. The next part is just the array of ports. So you get two USB, I believe they're USB 2.0 rather than 3.0. So not the fastest, but in terms of playback from USB thumb drives, I didn't have any problems running full HD videos, which it is capable of supporting. Not once did I have any stutter or glitches, so you will be able to watch your media smoothly. And you get two of those, so you can have one for media thumb drives and the next one either another one or a hard drive, but you can also use it to connect a USB styled mouse rather than relying on Bluetooth if you choose to do so. It also supports HDMI in, so if you think about the majority of the devices you have, whether that's Blu-ray players, laptops, games consoles, you can plug them all through your HDMI in. A Nintendo Switch, you'd have to do it through the dock. You can't get a USB-C into the HDMI in, but if you plug it through the dock, then it will work just the same. It's quite a nice companion when you think about the portability of the Switch. You've got something that complements that. On the other side, we do have a hardware on switch, so there is a 2-stage for turning it on. One is pressing through the side and then holding the touch gesture control button on the top for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then it kicks off. Pretty decent when it comes to startup time. It's not the fastest, but it's definitely not a problem. And then next to that, we also have a micro SD card slot. If you want to keep the flush hardware design without anything sticking out, then you can stick a memory card in here. You can literally just load it up with a lot of movies and keep it inside here for any trips that you may have. Now, when it comes to these size, of course, it's going to be producing a lot of power and therefore heat. You will find on the perimeter, specifically the left, the back, and a little bit underneath the PRIMA X2, it has a fan to ventilate that out. When navigating around the operating system, going around settings and going through the Google Play App Store, it's pretty good. It's quite loud, but nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to these small projectors, just because of the amount of heat that it produces and needing a fan to cool that down. And that also continues into playing movies. It can get quite loud, but provided you have good speakers with it, or if you have the volume up, then I quickly didn't notice or get distracted from the fan. Together with the wired connections, we also have wireless connectivity, and that includes built-in Wi-Fi and built-in Bluetooth. Those really help extend capabilities of the PRIMA X2, simply because you can navigate the Google Play App Store, connect to the internet and browse through the web. I downloaded Google Chrome, which you can access straight from the device. You didn't need to pair any smartphone or anything like that. Pair it with a mouse and you are good to go. I definitely recommend using a mouse because that helps you navigate around the operating systems and especially the apps much better instead of using the touch controls. It makes sense, but it meant that I can just stream movies or just browse the web straight from this without needing to connect. So that was a very big plus. The software is pretty good. I would say the apps aren't always tailored straight out of the box like the YouTube app. It's more of a mobile version. So going through the Google Chrome browser just was much easier, but if you have a USB mouse or connect Bluetooth mouse, then you can navigate much better and has an overall nicer user experience. Now, when it comes to the projection, it also supports auto keystone and you can do manual keystone as well, and that is vertical. So if you are projecting up to the ceiling or at an angle, then it will automatically correct it to make it viewable like if you were right in front of it. It works all right. I find it a bit of a hit and miss, so sometimes takes a few seconds or needs some time to recognize it. But overall, it's really nice to have something light and portable that you can just flip and, put it on your ceiling, lay in bed. Pairing my devices with Bluetooth was also very smooth. It's great because you can connect your Bluetooth headphones and Bluetooth speakers, which I highly recommend. As you can imagine, with the device this small, it's not going to have great sound. It's pretty tinny and you're going to find yourself wanting to connect something externally or plugging in your wired headphones through the 3.5mm jack, which is handy, directly to it to listen to the audio that you are projecting. But the Bluetooth speakers just makes it that much more versatile where you can sit wherever you want. The immersive and cinematic experience feels really nice, especially as you project up to 120 inches, which is kind of the sweet spot when it's in dark conditions. It can support up to 200 inches. I haven't tried it because I haven't got a wall that's that big.
If you are visiting in the winter, there'll be several places that you can go ice skating. And while some of the places like City Hall are much more cheaper, it's very busy.
But 120 was definitely very usable when you consider the distance and the 200 ANSI lumens that it has to project into that size. Let's talk about projecting in different daylight conditions. So when you compare it to much bigger projectors, they're able to emit much higher ANSI lumens, probably 800, 1000 plus. So when you compare it in absolute terms to 200 ANSI lumens, it seems very low. But for pico projectors, 200 is very usable. You can find those that are 50, 100, and that brightness really starts to suffer as soon as any kind of lighting comes in. With the 200 here, it's able to hold out a bit longer in daylight conditions, and it's able to perform better during the day if you want to use it. Now, would you want to use a Pico projector during the day? Generally not, but this one holds up very well that you can navigate around with it, especially if you do project it to much smaller sizes, then it becomes really crisp and very bright. So in that instance, it's no problem. But if you are trying to project to over 100 inches to a wall in relatively bright conditions, you're not going to get the best experience. But when you flip it into the night, then it becomes really nice. The whites tend to come out very well. You can adjust the color temperature, and generally you're just able to see the interface and darker scenes much better. Now, it still kind of suffers in dark scenes. Putting it into perspective, it's a very small unit, and for what it's capable of, it's actually very impressive, especially that HD resolution. Now, input, it supports up to full HD, but its output is 720p, so that is 1280 by 720, and it does, I believe, 60 hertz. Don't expect experience like a TV or just that sharpness, because it's a very small unit. It packs a lot of punch, and the sharpness actually was really nice. It didn't really feel like my eyes were seeing some blurriness. It's very sensitive to dial in with the focus, but once you've got it right, everything does feel really nice. So if you are projecting like movies, streaming or browsing, and you do want that large projection, this one is very capable and really satisfying to use, provided you connect some quality Bluetooth speakers with it. And it's mostly reserved for that entertainment on the go. If you're looking to just chuck something into your bag, take it with you for moments when you might just want to show friends your videos, watch a movie together, this becomes very powerful. The operating system could be better refined. Some of the apps pre-installed were a little rough around the edges, and some of the wireless sharing apps weren't great. They were sort of stuttering and crashing, so that's more of the software optimization rather than the hardware itself, and it's something hopefully that they can fix. The flakiness of the automatic keystone, again, is something I hope they fix. But generally, it's been very nice. The picture quality that comes out of it is very impressive for the size, and I like that it's HD resolution. 480p, I feel when you project it over 100 inches and so, just loses that clarity, that it starts to be a little bit blurry, so you kind of can't project it to the extent that it's capable of. But here with 200 ANSI and 720, you can project it at 120 inches and it still looks very good. The accessories are nice inclusion, but I wouldn't bet on it. Primarily the table tripod. You definitely want to use your own, something that's a bit more versatile and flexible or sturdy. And of course, the sound in these are very tinny, so if you are using it for movies, then I definitely consider investing in quality speakers. Again, not specific to the PRIMA X2, it's kind of a general thing for Pico projectors of this size. Battery life is pretty good. Sometimes you just have to remember to turn off the power from the side, the hardware key, otherwise it does stay in standby mode and you might turn it on and you find it's run out of battery. But 3 hours was more than usable enough. I'd say I'd get roughly 2.5 hours if I'm watching a full-blown movie for 2 hours plus, and then a little bit to navigate around the OS. And then charging time, I'd say, yeah, 3 hours or so. So it's not the quickest. It charges with a proprietary charger, but if you get it all set up, it can be a really nice travel companion to take with you. The PRIMA X2 Pico projector is a nice entry level into travel size projectors. The hardware is very good, a solid array of input ports for you to connect, and for me, I probably find I get the best experience connecting directly my media files through a USB drive, micro SD. What separates it from alternatives around this price range is its HD 720p resolution. It's actually very crisp, especially if you project it up to 100 inches, which was crazy for me on a blank wall, and it still retained good sharpness and colors. Now, it works best when it is in the dark, so it's not something you're gonna want to use during the daylight. However, it performs much better thanks to the 200 ANSI lumens that you get out of this. and it's kind of a general trend for projectors of this size. They just don't pack that much light, but 200 lumens is very respectable and above average in this price bracket and form factor. The touch controls as well are very responsive, and the remote control that comes with it looks very familiar to other boxes that you might guess, but also it works well from the front and the back, so you don't have to worry about needing to cover the image. It's probably not weighted enough and has enough stability for you to really use it on a daily basis with your projector. And I found myself replacing it with my own table tripod, or just my own tripod when I want to get more height. And the interface above the Android operating system is more than usable enough. It's simple, but helps get to where you want. So that wraps up my review of the PRIMA X2 Pico projector. If you want to read more details about everything I've talked about in this video, you can check it out on my website at onetechtraveler.com. I'll put the link just down below, and if you find it's the right travel projector for you, then you can go ahead and click in the link down below. To help it make it easier for you, you can get 15% off using my code ONETECHTRAV. And I hope you enjoyed seeing my personal experience using the PRIMA X2. So thanks a lot, world. Make sure you join Team KBA by subscribing to my channel just down below. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, keep being awesome. Peace.